Good afternoon again. This is Rachel with Infused Meadows, and I have another cookie that I need to put together so that it's in my freezer and ready for next week whenever I bake everything up to send out in the gift boxes. So these are strawberry cookies. Probably one of my favorite cookies, and these are a very easy cookie to make. Pretty much anybody can make these. So we're going to start with our dry ingredients. We are going to add to this bowl 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose or plain flour. I don't know if this helps, but if you watch any of my videos, if I ever forget to mention the flour, just know it's always plain flour. If it's anything different, I will certainly let you know, because in certain bread recipes, I use bread flour. And at that point, I'll let you know that's what I'm using. I hope that helps. Okay, so there's my flour. To the flour, I'm going to be adding, where's my measuring spoons? Right here. 3/4 a teaspoon of salt. Doesn't matter what salt you got, as long as it's salt. And we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. Sorry, baking soda. I was like, wait, I grabbed baking soda. It's baking soda, not baking powder. I apologize. We all get a little excited sometimes. We'll say that's what it is. Okay. So we've got that together. We're going to whisk our dry ingredients together. And you just want to make sure that everything is good and combined. Alright, I'm going to put some of the stuff up and we'll be right back. Okay, I have 1 cup of room temperature softened butter, and to that I'm going to add 1 cup of sugar. Just white granulated sugar, all you need for this. I have those sitting over there. What are we going to do now? We are going to mix this until it's well creamed. So this is going to take 2 to 3 minutes. You're just going to start. I do start on 1. And we're going to do this until it is light and fluffy-ish, until we add our egg. Okay? So, I'll be back at that point. Okay, so you can tell it has lightened some in color, which is exactly what we want. And I'm going to scrape this bowl down and add my 1 large egg to this. And I'm going to set this on my little paper towel over here. So we're going to add in our egg. And we're going to cream this a little bit more. You'll know when it's there. It will definitely be light and fluffy. Okay. And we'll be back. Okay, so before I do the next step, I just want to explain one thing. Now, I think I say this in a lot of videos depending on what I'm doing, so I'll say it again. If you dehydrate, you can dehydrate your own strawberries. You just slice those things up in nice little thin slivers like that. I have butter on my finger, I apologize. And then, let me get a paper towel. So you're going to slice those up really, really thin, you know, like I said, about like that-ish, about like that. And then you'll just put those on your tray. And then I do them at around 40 Celsius, which I think is somewhere around 100 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit in your dehydrator. Strawberries need anywhere from 12 to 24 hours. And what I do is I give them about 4 hours in there, and then I pull my tray and I actually take and I flip each individual strawberry over And then they're usually done in about 8 to 9 hours, as long as I don't cut them too thick. And as long as they are good and dry. And how do you know? Because once you think that they're ready, you let them cool. It takes maybe 5-10 minutes to cool off. You grab one, and if it breaks, you're good to go. If it bends, keep going. Okay, you want them nice and hard. And then you can, once you've let them set in the jar for a week and you've checked on them, and you don't see any signs of the strawberries sticking to the inside of the jar, which is a sign of moisture, or you don't, you shake it and you don't see them moving at all, that's a sign of moisture, then you'd put them back in your dehydrator. So as long as they're good to go and there's no signs of moisture, you can then powder your strawberries. You just put them in your little bullet blender or whatever kind of, little mixer you got, and you just powder them. I think that they sell powdered strawberries online. I don't know. Check Amazon. Anyway, so I have a 1/2 cup of strawberry powder, and this is going to go in, and I'm going to mix this on low with my strawberry powder. Sorry. Now, if you're not happy with the color that comes out of your strawberries, feel free to add yourself some pink food dye. Pink, red, whatever color you really want to add. I'm going to finish mixing this, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I mixed that as good as I could since it was crawling up the side of my bowl. I'm going in with a spatula, as you see. Now, I do know that you can buy freeze-dried strawberries, because I remember seeing those at several stores, even back home before I came here. Yeah. Yeah. Even Ingles, my favorite grocery store, they carry them. So I know if Ingles has them, and some of the other grocery stores I've been to, I know for a fact you can get, I think they're called freeze-dried strawberries. Anyway, doesn't matter. So, we're going to add our dry into our wet, okay? And we're not going to do these in big batches, because I need this to combine well. And you've seen that there's not a whole lot in this, so it will be kind of a dry mixture. Now, for me personally, if I were baking these, right now is a good time before you add your dry. Go ahead and get your oven preheating. You want your oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 175 Celsius. And that way it's good and preheated when you get done. Now, when you get this done, you can roll these out into little balls. If you have it, use a cookie scoop. Sorry, ice cream scoop. I call them cookie scoops because that's all I use them for. Use your ice cream scoop. I usually do the middle one for these because I don't want a huge cookie. But if you want a huge cookie, you go for that. I think it's 1.5 tablespoons scoop, the big one. Could even be 2 tablespoons. Anyway, go for that scoop, and then all you're going to do is just roll these up, put them on your pan. Now, if you want to do something a little different, take some of your strawberry powder, about a tablespoon, add it to some sugar. Start with half and half. Do a tablespoon, actually do 1 tablespoon of sugar of your strawberry powder, and do 2 tablespoons of your white sugar. Put that into a little bowl. When you roll these into a ball, give those a roll in your mix, and you can put that in there. Because I know, for whatever reason nowadays, everybody likes to roll everything in sugar. I think that these are sweet enough. Well, I think they're perfect. They're not overly sweet, and you get a really nice strawberry flavor that shines through. So what I will be doing is, once I get this all done, I'll be rolling these out and putting them on that baking tray over there, and then putting that into my deep freeze so that it can freeze, and then I'll put them into a bag for next week. So I don't really think that anybody needs to know how to roll out a cookie because, well, I've done the chocolate chip cookies. I've done double chocolate chip cookies. Eventually I'll show, like I do pumpkin cookies and the soft ginger snap cookies. I've got all kinds of cookies, banana cookies. I do a bunch. So I'm going to finish this up and then I'm going to get these rolled out and on the tray and then into the freezer. Well, like I said, if you make these, I hope you like them. You're going to bake these for, if you want nice soft centers, go for 11 to 12 minutes. If you want them crunchier than that, I try them at 12 minutes, I guess. Like I've told y'all before, I don't really do the hard cookies. Yes, this would have been better had I gotten one of my bigger whisks, but I wasn't thinking, or spatulas, I wasn't thinking. So it is what it is. Elbow grease it is. Anyway, so like I said, bake for 11 to 12 minutes if you want the nice soft centers. If you want crunchier, I don't know, I would check them at 12 minutes, okay? And yeah, that's all I got for this recipe. They should stay good on your counter in an airtight container for at least a week. If you freeze these, the dough, like what I'm going to do, they're good for at least 6 months. If you vacuum seal them, you've got at least a year. As long as they're in the freezer and you don't see ice crystals, you've got about a year on them. That's the longest I've kept them in the freezer, and yes, they baked off just fine. No problems after a year. I usually don't keep dough longer than that, but sometimes, you might get busy and forget that they're in there for longer, but all right. I'm going to finish mixing, get these rolled out and into my freezer. I hope you make this recipe. I hope you like it. And if you don't, as I've always said, then I hope you find the recipe out there that's right for you. As always, I hope that you have a wonderful day.